Good morning everybody and welcome to the heavy haulage arena. And we are just getting started with a little bit of heavy haulage. The big crane trailer is on the move. That's about 100 tonne, that trailer, as it stands there. The container is actually just an empty tank, but the trailer itself weighs 90 odd tonne. And we've got an all Scammell Explorer effort, 3 on the front and a couple on the back. These of course were built for the Army. It was the Army's second generation of recovery trucks, and the first ones they had which were all-wheel drive. The previous ones, the Pioneers, were just rear-wheel drive. But in Army parlance these are only called medium mobility. If you want high mobility you've got to have tracks, of course. But to say these were brought in the 1950s, I would guess, and we've got them all here lined up, so they've got a bit of something to chew up there. If the ones on the back are not doing much, the fellas on the front will be kept working, pulling hard. The trailer was the first 200 tonne capacity trailer that Cranes built over at Dereham. And you'll notice as it goes round that the back end steers independently from the front. And there is, hopefully, somebody up on the back bogie there with a little donkey engine that works the hydraulics. And he will steer the back end of the trailer. The idea behind that, of course, is that if you're tackling a roundabout or a sharp turn in the road or something like that, you have that additional steering capacity so that as the front goes to the left, you can get the back to go to the right and reduce the cut-in on the corner. Cutting on the corner is always a problem. Indeed, on modern roads, I'm sure there's been occasions when you've suddenly been confronted with an articulated truck in front of you who's conveniently in the middle of the road occupying both lanes. And that's because he's trying to prevent you from going up his inside on the roundabout because he knows that he's going to use your bit of road. So if you ever come across that, just sit back and let him get on with his job, because the roads are not always designed ideally for the large trucks of today, and we need them because everything you eat, everything you wear and everything you drink has come on a truck. So it's worth remembering that when you're cursing them for being in the way. Anyway, going back to the point in question, the big crane trailer, they're having a circuit round the bottom. The Scammell Explorers, of course, started life with a petrol engine in. I think it was a Meadows petrol. I don't profess to be a great expert on diesel haulage, but when they were demobbed, of course, everybody has to buy their own petrol, unlike the Army where it just arrives in a tanker. So a lot of them have been fitted with all sorts of different engines. The favourite one was the Leyland 680. One or two have got Gardners, but the trouble with the Gardner is, wonderful engine that it was, it's very slow revving, so it made the truck very slow. And then there's at least one in that string there that's got a Cummins L10 in it. And they're still a useful vehicle for a bit of hard work.
That's heavy road stuff, mate. That's heavy road diesel, that is. Yeah, the tow. Probably filled up water. It's off. Dummy. This is wartime stuff, look.
I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by the Steve Fair's Assistant Chaplain, the Reverend Andrew Rowland. We meet once a year, every year, Welcome, Andrew. And he's promised he's not going to do a full-blown sermon this morning, which is a great relief to all of us.
Good morning, everybody. Actually, I've been promoted after all these years. I think it's about 20 years I've been coming here. Michael, the chaplain, the local vicar, has finally decided that he needs to become part of the heritage of the place and not part of the present. So he's retired in my favour, and so now for the first year I'm now the chaplain, duly authorised by the Oliver family here with great honour. So I'm here once again as chaplain, and I've come just to talk to you briefly because at 11:30 this morning, 11:30 at the World War II stage, which is down obviously by the corner of the field down there, we're going to hold a brief but meaningful remembrance service. Obviously it's good to have all the heritage involvement of the World War I, World War II exhibits and people, the reenactors, but there is a serious side to it, and that is that we want to remember before God the men and women whose lives were given and taken in war. So if you would like to join us at 11:30 down at the World War II stage, myself and the assistant chaplain, whose name is Roger, we're going to lead you in a short act. We'll sing two hymns, "O God Our Help" and "Onward Christian Soldiers." So if you haven't sung those for a while, you'll enjoy singing those, and we'll just say a few words. And just to let you know that a couple of months ago I was the chaplain on duty at Tarrant Rushden Airfield. Now, of course, down in the exhibit down there by the World War II area is the original control tower from Tarrant Rushden Airfield. Not the whole tower, but the glass top of it, or what remains of it. And this was found languishing since 1980 in a local scrapyard. Now the significance is that on the very earliest action of D-Day, the time when we went back to liberate Europe, that started just 3 or 4 miles away from here at Tarrant Rushden Airfield. Some of you may have come quite close to the airfield on your way in. That sits on top of the hill. It had a number of Halifax bombers that were specially prepared to tow Horsa gliders, and on the 6th of June, on the eve of D-Day, really the 5th of June, these gliders were towed up and went over to start to release paratroopers and troops into France. So it's very good to have the remains of the control tower here. It's a great part of the heritage of our nation. It's wonderful that Martin and the team have managed to procure that and to display it for us. So that's what I'm doing. 11:30 please, end of sermon, and I look forward to seeing as many of you as would like to take part. And then just a reminder finally that if you're here tomorrow, we do the Directors' Memorial Service. We remember all the great characters of the Steam Fair down through its 51 years at a brief service on the main stage at 12 noon. So thank you for listening. God bless. Have a lovely day. And this year I am taking credit for the sunshine.
Oh, what happened last year?
Well, last year you blamed me for the rain. So I said next year I'd fix it for you and have a word with the man upstairs.
You've had a word with head office,
and now people are complaining it's too hot.
Well,
so I don't know what to do for you, really.
Join the club.
God bless everybody. Have a wonderful time at the Great Dorset Steam Fair. Thank you for coming. See you next year if I don't see you this year.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much indeed. One of the features, of course, of being chaplain here at the Great Dorset Steam Fair, like the rest of us, he's got to have a fairly thick skin. It's lovely to see him, and to say, don't forget, if you're not going down there today, there will be the church service tomorrow at 12 o'clock in front of the Dean's Organ down in the main fairground area. When you will get a genuine fire and brimstone job from him, probably.
That's going down there.
Thank you, Andrew. Lovely to see you. Well, good morning, Mr. Lloyd, sir.
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, everybody. Apologies for being late on parade as usual, I fear. But I did breakfast very sociably this morning. and so I thought that I was enjoying myself so much in the sunshine before it gets too hot that I thought I won't rush to get into the comedy box, because spending the rest of the day here means that I have plenty of time to catch up with the events of the day. I do hope that plenty of you make your way down to the World War display for the Padres service at 11:30. I just congratulated him on his final long overdue elevation to the chaplainship of this show, and we know that the spiritual aspects of the show are in very good hands.
Yeah, I was right about that, Atkinson, Alan. It is a Silver Knight. It was built as a double drive. I've forgotten who it was for, he did tell me. And of course for many years the Fleer family had it for moving the flying engines about. 180 Gardner. Progress was sedate but sure.
Well, yes, it's a little bit brisker than it would have been with the basic 150 LX. The 180, of course, is the 6LXB, the final evolution of the naturally aspirated 10.5 litre LX Gardner series, 6-cylinder engine, and they found the necessity to squeeze it up to 180 horsepower nominally because of the weight rule that came in the 64 Construction and Use Act that revised a lot of the road transport rules, that you had to have 6 brake horsepower per tonne available at the axles. So to be able to run a lorry at anywhere near the maximum 32 tonnes that articulated lorries were permitted under those new regulations in 1964, that is what Gardners did.
A lot of people upgraded the 150s, they just put the stronger springs in the pump.
Basically, that's all it was, yeah.
If you've got a good 150, it would beat a 180
any day, yeah. A crisp 150 was probably, in many ways, a better engine, actually.
Yeah, I would think you're right. Anyway, we mustn't get too much into the mechanics, so everybody will go to sleep. But I've talked about the trailer and the Explorers coming round. It's making the fellas on the front shout a bit. We've got the trailer rides going on, of course. I haven't mentioned those yet today, so we are collecting on the trailers for Mind, the mental health charity, and it's the Dorset branch will benefit from the money collected. And we've got a couple of engines with trailers now at work. If you'd like to come along, say all the money from this will go to Mind, to the charity. It's only a couple of quid for adults, a pound for children. And as I say, it's very important to appreciate that all the money will go to the charity. There's no overheads involved. The engines are all volunteers. Martin Oliver has paid for the trailers. So it's all there, and it will be of great benefit. Hopefully the charming young lady came in yesterday, Dee from Mind, and had a chat, told us a little bit about what they do. She promised to come back today if we didn't frighten her too much here in the box. And of course we've got our team of helpers there under Lulu's command. Morning, Louise. Oh, she's on the phone probably. She can be always on it. She does most things in life with one hand, but the phone's in the other. Oh, she's turning round. I'm going to get a look in a minute. Anyway, there we are. Say, come and have a trailer ride for the Dorset branch of Mind, the mental health charity. That trailer, very adaptable piece of kit, Alan. I mean, you can move the main girders in and out and raise them up depending on the configuration of the loading and the carry.
Yes, and it came from Cranes new with 2 sets of girder extensions along on a short set, which meant that you had quite a number of different variations of the possible load lengths that the girders could accommodate, as well as the width. They also had sets of 3.5-inch round bars that could be slotted into sockets between the two girders, so you could carry a load supported on the bars in between the girders. So there was a huge range of different configurations within the basic double-bogeyed hydraulic swan neck arrangement that the trailer pioneered, if you like, when it was the first of its kind to be produced in the early 1950s.
Well, now this morning you can have a special treat. We've got 2 burrels on the trailers. We've got Mr. Mayhew over there, Tim Mayhew, who's a stalwart of this job with his single crank burrel, and then we've got one of the big New Zealand burrels here as well on the job. Alan Hamilton's single cylinder. Alan's not here actually this week. I saw him about a month ago at Welland Rally, and they were just about to fly home then. He said, "Oh, we've got to go back." He said, "I've got a job which I'm trying to keep." So the engine, I think, is due to go back later on in the autumn. Believe it or not, these engines will fit in a container. Take off the wheels, take out the axle at the back, and sit them down on the floor on the frame, take the chimney off, and they'll just slide into a shipping container. And it's old hat now. It's first done in year 2000. I think they came for the Burrell year, the Burrell celebration, when somebody thought it would be great fun to get a couple of New Zealand engines over. Because these engines are very different to what we're accustomed to here. They're much bigger, heavier built than the normal British road engines. They were designed very much more for almost off-road work, if I can call it that, on very rough tracks and trails, travelling quite long distances. So they built these much bigger, stronger engines and a lot wider. So they don't fit down the narrow country lanes that we have. Anything over 8 foot wide is a serious headache in this country. Still is today, really, the access to farms and so on. When you're going to collect goods from a farm, you never quite know what you're going to come up against when you go around the next corner on these narrow country roads. And of course, people complain about the damage done to the roads. Well, yes, it's true, it can't be denied, but at the same time, everybody wants the food and wants the facilities that are provided and done by transport in general. So we'll have a lot going on today. Full pack programme at 1 o'clock. We're having a parade, World War I vehicles. All 3 tanks are coming in. Horses hopefully as well, depending on how they feel about the general congestion